What's up, world? Welcome to a new episode of the BrandonJaneauShow. As you know, I am Brandon Janeau, and this is a new episode of Wrestling Life. So, like always, man, go to podcast platforms everywhere, all audio platforms, man. Just listen to it. If they got reviews, review it, man. Give some stars, do some things to it, man. All podcast platforms, man. I really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody that's on my YouTube channel that subscribed, that's viewing it. Appreciate the new subscribers. Brandon Janeau Show is the YouTube channel, so go there and follow, subscribe, man, to there. And also on social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Brandon Janeau Show. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And like I said earlier, this is Wrestling Life. So I'm gonna do a special Wrestling Life, man. Yeah, Raw was last night, and Raw was incredible, and it was awesome. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor's rivalry is finally heating up. Vince McMahon actually made a call last night that was pretty fucking interesting. He actually made a call, and this is okay. So reports saying that Triple H wanted Johnny Gargano to be in the open challenge for Seth, but he didn't want him to come back and lose immediately to Seth, which is understandable. So I get that. But then you hear also that Vince is the one that thought about opening Raw with Finn Balor coming out and jumping Seth Rollins. And either way it goes, that was a great call, regardless of who the fuck it was. Because Finn needs heat. Finn needs the heat that Dominic has, or at least the popularity that Rhea has. You need the heat. You need it. But Raw was pretty good last night, man. I actually enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, the last two Raws have not been bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like the last two Raws have not been fucking bad. They have actually been really good, really standout Raws. Um, let's get into it. So this is a very special episode, man. The Bloodline has ended. Well, kinda. It's still a Bloodline, but the Usos are officially out of it. They've officially chose their place in this world, and it's not with Roman Reigns. Let's talk about it. Friday night, it happened. The kick around the world. The kick in the wrestling world, I should say. Jay Uso finally decided to say fuck you to Roman Reigns. That's pretty much what he did. It's like fuck you. It did now. I totally agree with everybody that says, "Man, I wish this was at a pay per view." But I actually like the fact that they did it on SmackDown because I think the abuse started on SmackDown. It had to end on SmackDown. When Roman started manipulating Jay, it started on SmackDown. So the Bloodline started on SmackDown. Man, it was a great situation, man. To watch them two, uh, to watch that segment Friday, and it was a 30-minute fucking segment. They literally gave it 30 fucking minutes to just go out there and do it. That is when you know you have a storyline that is so over that it does not matter what you do, it's going to prevail. It's going to be the moment of the show. It, I've never, yo, I haven't. I can't even say even in the Attitude Era, I can remember when a promo segment ends the show. I can't remember when the last time a promo segments ends the show. Bloodline segments in the show. It don't matter if you're fighting, if they're fighting, or if they're just in the ring doing promos. They end the show, and it's like that is what it is. Jay kicking Roman on Friday Night SmackDown, putting an end to the Usos being a part of the Bloodline, is a moment to be said, and it's a moment to be seen. Now, Money in the Bank is officially coming, and it's official that it will be the Usos versus pretty much the remaining Bloodline, which is Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. I've been a very, very, very component on how this is going to probably end. I mean, there's been so many people takes on it, how this should end. How should Solo now see Roman? And I think it's already being planted. It's been planted. Solo's going to eventually turn on Roman. You just don't know when. Me personally, I think he's gonna have a WrestleMania. WrestleMania. I think Roman's gonna, Solo's gonna end up somehow in a title picture situation, where Roman is gonna feel like now either Solo go take care of Seth or he's gonna come at him. So I don't know how that particular is gonna play out. But Solo's got to feel like Roman's trying to use him, and when Solo finally feels that way, that's when he turns on Roman. My thing about this whole situation, the storyline of the Bloodline is so damn good. I hate that. I'm gonna hate when it ends. I really am. I can't believe like for 3 years a fucking storyline has had me hooked. Not really 3 years. The beginning of the storyline, the beginning of the Bloodline, when Roman and Jay started fighting. Then when Jimmy came back, got in the picture for that little moment, and then they kind of like fell the fuck off. We forget that like it was like 6 months of not knowing what the fuck this was. And then Triple H took over, and Sami Zayn got in the Bloodline storyline, and that's what made this shit really hit another gear. And my biggest thing with this was I don't know how Roman and how this is going to sustain after WrestleMania 39, and they figured this shit out. They have made this one of the best storylines in WWE history. I don't know where you go from. I've said this numerous times. The best thing you can do for WWE is to have Cody Rhodes have a clean path and Roman Reigns have the worst situations, because then it will create the anomaly that, oh wow, Cody actually had a cleaner path. Because let's put into perspective of last year. Roman had a fucked up path, but Cody didn't. So you're doing the same story kind of again. And here's the thing: I know people will sit up here and say Jay should to dethrone Roman. I have a problem with that. Jay is not going to beat Roman for the title. What I do think is the conversation of tribal chief should be up for grabs. Because what if Roman does drop the title, but it's not to a bloodline member? It's actually just to Cody. He drops the titles. He drops the title to Cody, and now the family can actually say, Roman, you dropped the titles. Something that you kept saying. If I'm the while I am the champion, I am the head of the table. I am the tribal chief. I need this to provide for the family. I need this to be the tribal chief. Now that if he drops the titles, that becomes a conversation again. But now it's like, who takes the mantle? You're already starting to put Jey Uso is going to be the tribal chief in there. But what if Solo becomes the tribal chief? What if Jimmy wants to be tribal chief? Now we're having a different conversation. And that is what I think you should do after WrestleMania. You should have a fatal four-way for the tribal chief. Because now Roman doesn't have the titles and he doesn't have the mystique of being the tribal chief. So what happens? I think that is really what I think you should go into is a fatal four-way to be the tribal chief. And I think that would be so dope. That would be so dope. The storyline of the tribe bloodline, what does it I've said this numerous times. The Bloodline storyline never needed The Rock. It never needed The Rock. People wanted to throw The Rock out there so much. It never needed The Rock. It just needed to progress the story better. After Sammy got kicked out, you had to make the story actually make sense. For me, and I've been invested, and it's been great. But I never felt like the storyline needed The Rock. All in all, man, I think the Bloodline storyline is going to go down as one of the greatest storylines in modern wrestling freaking history, man. It's top tier greatness. It's one of the greatest storylines of all time. It's actually better than Stone Cold and The Rock. It's better than Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon. It actually has progressed, and it actually has made top superstars. Something a lot of storylines don't do. You see, back when Vince ran the company, they would have a storyline, it would be great, and then the person that was in the storyline go on their own and fade immediately. 2 weeks later, they're back to being a jobber. Nobody gives a fuck. But pay attention to the storyline. This is why the storyline is so great. Is because Sammy is still getting pops. Sammy's still a top face. He might not be a part of it like he used to be, but he's still a top face. Kevin Owens, by proxy, is getting top face pops. That's just what it is. When Jimmy turned on Roman, he started becoming a face. The Usos been heels for like 5, 6 years before they even got in the Bloodline storyline. Like 3 years, they've been hit like they've been heels. Like before the pandemic, they were heels. So for them to be now, and then Jimmy turns, and then now Jay. So to have three faces come four, four top tier faces off of one storyline because they turned on one person. That's crazy. Technically, three people turned on Roman, but one person by proxy. That's crazy. That's nuts. You have four top faces in a company off of one heel. That's some NWO shit. That's some NWO shit. Just because you didn't join the NWO, you were a top face. You turn on Roman, you become the biggest face of the company. That's crazy. That's nuts. Like I just realized that the Bloodline storyline is so great because you actually have made people faces, top faces, big names, baby faces. If you don't know what I mean by that, baby faces, I'm talking about they're good guys. They became really good guys in the company, and you made three, four technically Kevin Owens, four top faces off of one storyline in 3 fucking years. That is crazy. Sammy and Kevin are still getting crazy pops. Still. Jimmy and Jay are going to get amazing, massive pops Friday when they go to London when this ends. That's crazy. And it was solo turns. You are not going to only have a person that just turned face. You're going to have a person that is now a bona fide superstar. Something that only Sammy and Jay can say. Jay's a bona fide superstar now. Jay has officially became the guy. He can become the top face in the company. Let's be real. Jay can become the top face in the company, but he doesn't need the belt to do it. I don't give a shit what nobody says. Jay does not need the belt to become the top face in the company. He doesn't. He doesn't. All in all, man, a Bloodline storyline is of NWA importance. It is the best story. That's why I think we love it so much because it's like the NWO without all this extra shit. It literally was blood leading the leading the entire story. It wasn't all these random ass people jumping in. You had the cousin, who was the head of the table. You had his pretty much his little cousins doing his dirty work, and then you had somebody that is literally the closest thing to blood telling you why they're so great. And Paul Heyman, that is literally history. And then you had one person that literally was just attached and got hot by proxy and then became a massive star like Sami Zayn, which prolonged and became because he had a storyline going on with Kevin Owens. He became hot because of Bob Proxy. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Bloodline storyline is the greatest, one of the greatest storylines of all time in wrestling history. That shit is hard to find. 3 years of a story being told, and guess what? The story is not over. That's the crazy part. It ain't even over yet. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's a good storyline. I am Brandon Janeau. This is Wrestling Life, and I'm out. Peace.